But with that, I'm going to bring up the man Roman, who is head of product at CPT. Roman, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Can you guys hear me?
I can, loud and clear. Yay.
Wow.
No,
Wow. What a day.
it's always a good day when Roman's audio works perfectly. That's been an ongoing joke with Roman joining, is that the audio is
Yeah,
always
yeah, and Patrick had audio issues for a couple of seconds, right, on the one on
yes.
Tuesday. And it was funny because it was the first time I actually started watching the show as well.
Yes.
So I was like, man, I'm bringing the bad luck straight to Patrick as well.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what happened there with Patrick, but we just kind of hung on and it overcame. Sometimes microphones are finicky and will pick up typing
Mhm.
or something that comes through. So I don't know. Anyways, yeah, Roman, what's going on with you? I mean, the last conversation we had before the break, we got into some engineering chat. I think people like this because just how ambitious Empulser is. They want to know kind of how deep it goes, and it feels Star Wars, but we want to know how close we are to Star Wars.
We're right there. We're really right there. A lot of the products are either in manufacturing or have basically kind of manufacturing has been completed, development has completed, and we're gearing up. So it's literally around the corner. Yeah.
Awesome. We talked about Life Finder last time, was our
Mm.
first kind of product. You introduced the product. Maybe we'll start just high level, like talk about where kind of Impulser is now in terms of its product rollouts. Where are you guys at in your life cycle of rolling and
Yeah.
commercializing these products?
Yeah, so as a lot of the audience is aware, we have three verticals of products, right? We have RF, we have MagRes, and we have optical. So for the radio frequency stuff, that's IoT devices, smart sensors, low power, but long range sort of products, be it temperature sensors or light finder. Those are ready to go, and we are now in sales. But those sales are to, let's say, industrial companies, architectural companies, people that are building things. And so it takes a while to onboard those customers. That's just the nature of the IoT smart sensor game. It takes 3 months, 6 months, sometimes takes a year to onboard clients. But once you do onboard them, the reward is substantial, and then you have that customer in your ecosystem, so you can keep going back and upgrading or reservicing your products there. So it takes a while, but yeah, it's in rollout. We have people actively selling it, so it will take a little bit of time, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in terms of the sales process, I think a lot of people want to know like how long you guys have been working on these products. So obviously, to be able to go to a client and say, "Oh, hey, here's our device, and it works, and let me demonstrate it," it means that you've done months, if not years, of research and development before that. Can you maybe just talk about
Yeah, I
that
actually
before?
that's why it's so important to partner up with phenomenal companies like LifeFinder, because you see, if we came out with revolutionary product like theirs, let's say we came out with literally the same product as LifeFinder, just as ourselves, um, we could maybe do that, but do we have the credibility to go and execute that? Of course, with Patrick's and Tim's and my own credibility there in business and with our contacts, we can do that. But it's such a massive boost when you can partner with LifeFinder type companies. And we'll be showing some more partnerships that we're doing, so that we can basically join forces with them, deploy with them, and then upgrade as well at the same time or after the sale. So partnerships are crucial. No one can do everything by themselves. We do want to build the brand. So we want to get as close to the end users as possible. And working with partnerships allows us to do that.
Yeah, congrats on the new website. Looks great. I see 6 active operations. I
Yeah.
think I asked Patrick what that meant. I believe Dom did, and
But
he
you're gonna
said,
have to wait. You're gonna have to wait because that is information that's in the pipeline and is gonna come out bit by bit, and
"Okay,
you'll get further clarity on that.
all right,
It's a
are
mysterious
these
number right now.
mysterious number?
Mm.
When we say operations, is this like satellite offices, or are we talking about implementations like customers?"
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe. You're gonna have to wait for that.
All right.
It's all part of the pipeline, all part of a communication process that we're gonna do, and I think people will be quite surprised how fast we're traveling. I mean, ultimately, usually our sort of companies and our industry take a long time to do anything. Well, anything in hardware takes a long time, but we're moving extremely quickly, and that's again part of our strategy to partner up with as many exciting brands and companies as possible, so that we can very quickly get from where we are today and just expand our sales, distribution, marketing, brand, everything. We just need to expand as quick as possible, and that's why we're partnering with people, and that's why that number is there, and you'll get to know more about it in due course.
I'm fired up. And we'll get to the specific products in a minute here. You have drones on your website. Very, very
Yes.
cool. Lots of cool stuff. Patrick described Impulser as basically Starlink for energy, where you're transferring energy kind of like, I don't know, anywhere. I don't know if you want to really break down this vision from a product standpoint. Like what's your vision? How should people think about Impulser?
Well, I
How do you
think,
describe it and what, like, okay, let me say it
yeah.
this way. I'm at a party, I'm talking to my friends. I'm about like excited about investing in this
Mm,
new tech startup.
yeah.
How do I describe Impulser at a party?
So Empulser is really a technology house, and we are building future high impact solutions. And the technology which defines the most, or the most defining technology, is power. And so if you can transfer power from one place to the next, coupled with a phenomenal high quality solution, that is a revolutionary product. Like what we're doing is about as close to free energy as you can get. It's you're literally pulling energy out of the air. It's sort of like it's as close to magic as you can get. Yeah.
I mean, people have tried perpetual motion machines and stuff like that. I see you have
No, I stay away
92%
from those.
efficiency.
No,
Okay.
no, I stay away from those.
I see you see, or you have here 92% efficiency.
Mm,
This isn't crazy. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, NTT, DARPA. There's a number of companies or organizations working on this
yeah,
type of technology.
yeah.
How do you get 92% efficiency? Why do you guys think you're kind of onto something here, that this is ready now to go from labs and universities to commercialization and products?
Okay, so that's actually the fundamental reason why we, as a team of entrepreneurs, why we know that we can succeed, is because we first, especially Patrick, um, we talk about. So I present him what technology is available today and what other people have done, and then we together figure out a way how to bring that to market, rather than just spend every last penny, every million, every billion into just plowing into perfecting the core tech of wireless or contactless power transfer. So a lot of these companies, they're doing wonderful stuff, but they are focusing on just pushing and pushing and pushing the tech itself rather than taking what they have. Then we kind of or taking what's there already and making it functionally just make it a functional product from what's already there. Of course, we take what's there, we improve it, we use lateral thinking, and we innovate, and then we take it to market. Because the reality is the US government and many governments around the world have been doing power transfer like this since the 1950s. But it takes a certain group of people to take an idea or a technology, work it, innovate on it, and then take it to a product. That's a totally different skill set.
Yeah, and shout out Moru for this post here. Actually talks a bit about some of these different entities. So if you're, I won't say that NTT Mitsubishi collab in terms of practical implementation and more than 2 steps ahead of the Honda-backed one in terms of execution rollout. Look, there is examples here of like these systems. Really quick, NTT and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Do you know much about these entities and what they're kind of working on?
Yeah, so you always have to, how can I put this politically correctly? You have to understand that sometimes people make scientific research, let's say, right? But the scientific research takes them a certain way. And if you don't start, if the beginning of your process is to improve the tech rather than bring out a workable product, you tend to go the wrong way.
Right.
I think Elon Musk said it himself, which is one of the biggest problems with a smart engineer is solving for a solution that doesn't need to exist, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, if you get like a government fund, right, and they give you $50 million, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna spend money everywhere. But the question is, are you actually taking where you are now, and are you strategically moving to where you want to be? Or are you just research and developing something just for the sake of it? Like, what is the end goal? And if the end goal isn't crystal clear, then it's never going to become a business. And in the same way, since the 1950s, the US government's been doing laser transmission, microwave transmission, and they have stuff in their vaults, I don't know, in Area 51 or whatever, like just crazy stuff. But because they didn't set out to make a product, they haven't made products.
Yeah.
So that's why you need an entrepreneurial team to take you there.
Yeah, people, I think Patrick put it this way, is people don't know what they need to buy yet. And you almost have to productize something and show them a practical application. And then it's like,
exactly.
Oh, I get it. And then, but once you do that, you set an entire industry.
Exactly. It's like the iPhone moment, right? I think the BlackBerry CEO, when the iPhone came out, he said, no one's going to use it. No one's going to use a touchscreen for business because they will like the feel of the keyboard, right?
Yes.
But how wrong was he? Because people don't yet know what they want because they haven't yet experienced it. So our job as one of the first, if not the first, to commercialize it in this ethos is to show people and let them experience it and let them understand the benefits of what our solutions can provide. And again, we are developing solutions enabled by the most fundamental technology, which is power. So that's kind of how I think people should look at it.
Yeah, I as someone who grew up in Waterloo, where BlackBerry was from, that was a painful learning experience. I always wanted my RIM or BlackBerry to succeed. I show the chart not to show you, Roman, but everyone on stream, just for context. This is CPT here. You can go find it on the Soar platform. So go over to launch on Soar on X and go find CPT. You can find all the artifacts there, disclosures, etc. Just for everyone watching. So this is what it looks like. But Roman, I will go back to your website because I wanted to dig into a few other things. Before we get into the product side, like how big is this industry? Like if you guys are successful, if you show a successful demonstration of the S drone in February here, or when you're deciding to do it, you have your 3 product ranges. Like how big does this get, Roman?
Well, I don't want to. I mean, no one can predict the future.
No one can. No one can.
However, power is the fundamental defining factor of civilization, and we are deploying civilizational change, literally drawing power from the air. That's pretty huge. Everything runs on power. Even AI runs on power. Well, everybody knows that, right? But everything runs on power. Everything needs it, and it is a revolutionary technology. In fact, I think I saw an interview from Boston Dynamics CTO, I think, or one of the guys. He actually said, one of the biggest failure points on his Atlas robots used to be that the wires kept breaking where the joints of the robot were, right?
Oh, wow.
Now they've gone to, I presume, some sort of induction joint. So then you have 2 rings, and so it allows it to move in 360 degrees while maintaining data and power connection. So even inside like products like robots, even there they are getting rid of wires. Even there, they're going to wireless. But that is wireless under our definition because it's induction. But perhaps we can go one step further and do contactless, i.e., magres.
Yes, last time we I defined the difference between induction and what you guys are doing. Really quick, do you want to reemphasize the definition?
Yeah, I mean, so we came up with the term of contactless power transfer because we want wireless doesn't quite it doesn't feel as tangible to us, at least, as contactless, first of all. Secondly, wireless power transfer also includes induction, and as most people know, like when you're charging your phone on an induction magnetic pad, right, there's still contact, right? But with our technology, there is no more physical contact. That's why it's one step further, it's contactless. So we want to really emphasize there's no physical connection at all.
The applications, your 3: magnetic resonance, optical, and what's the third one?
Radio frequency.
Radio frequency. A vast set of applications here. On your website, you say this fundamentally will change the world, I believe, is what you said.
It will, yeah, absolutely. This is coming. It's just a question of which companies, which groups, which countries are going to deploy it. But it's going to happen. Like, absolutely. There's no 2 ways about it.
Okay, so we're fundamentally changing the world. Theoretically, that's a massive, massive market potential. And now we're kind of in the stage where you're kind of demonstrating to people, kind of like Patrick said, like you got to show them what the future is like, and to kind of seed it. Maybe I'll pause there, and that covers a lot of Empulser. Is there specific Empulser things that you want to share before we get into kind of some very specific engineering stuff?
No, I think that's right. And ultimately, the team is what's gonna make it happen. In this space, there hasn't been this sort of character like Patrick yet. So we feel very confident about the team. That's the most important thing. And again, we know where we're going. And that's the most important, to have a good team that knows where it's going. And that allows us to build the strategy, build the products, and effectively row in the same direction.
Yep. I completely agree. I think Patrick is attracting a lot of attention from his ability to share a vision of the future, an Elon Musk-esque type character. This was the product that we talked about last time, and we won't get too deep into it, but I want to recap it for people that are new joining us. Patrick mentioned that I believe the goal was to sell like 10,000 of these units next year as a conservative goal. Just want to hear maybe your thoughts on how this is going. If you can recap it for those that are new joining us.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so Life Finder is a wearable device which works with installed infrastructure. So you first install the infrastructure, which is basically a bunch of communication beacons, and and then you wear a wearable device on your wrist, on your belt, on your helmet, jacket, life jacket, whatever you want. And that device is first of all able to locate everyone who's wearing it in real time in 3 dimensions, and it can warn people. It also sends data to, say, a headquarters somewhere. It has a panic button mode. So if a crew member or a worker sees something that's critically dangerous, they can press the panic button and it alerts the whole system. And it's also an intelligence system. The wearable is intelligent. So if you fall over from a high place, or you're exposed to intense heat or some other abnormalities, it's going to warn someone. So this is a device designed to keep people safe. It's a Swedish company, very new product. They have already got some good success. And they're in their sort of early growth stage. So we partnered up with them to help them deploy this product, this solution. And in the second phase, we're going to upgrade them, their installed infrastructure and the wearables, to charge contactlessly. Whether that's going to be radio frequency or magnetic resonance, we can do both. So it will really be a choice for the customer. So that allows us to gain revenue, work with a phenomenal partner, build our customer base, and then come back to that same customer base and resell them the contactless power transfer solution. So a double dip, if you will.
Yep, I like it. And I think this is a good you showed the beacon or the little product. You also sent me a picture of it on a hard hat. Can I share that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Let me see if I can pull that out. I don't know.
There's a lot of images of it, like in like on a helmet, on a life vest, all of that. And there's a lot of images that I have of it being deployed on boats and ships and God knows what. And but it's quite low resolution, let's say. So we'll be going back and retaking those photos and then using it for marketing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I can pull this up. You sent it on WhatsApp, but to be honest with you, I don't think I can pull it up.
We can do that after, perhaps.
As
a reminder. Yeah.
I would release some of it. Definitely just toss it out there. Some of those images, I think they're really cool to see on products. Okay, so
we definitely will, and it's something that we intend to talk a lot more about. Of course, right today and earlier this week, we kind of showed the S-drone, which I think is our goal for marketing goal for this week, maybe next week as well. I don't know. We'll see about that.
All right, let's start actually with that. And I wanted to watch that video. I had it pulled up, but I've since tabbed over. As you guys know, I'm a lone streamer today, so bear with me here. But let's go ahead and can we start by watching this video real quick?
Yeah, of course.
All right. This was from yesterday. So full screen this. Hey, you ready, everyone? This was a great one. Strap in because you feel like you're in the future.
Is there audio?
There is audio on my end. Is that not sharing to you?
I can't hear it. Maybe it's just me.
All right. That would not be out of the realm of
I'm bringing the
possibility.
technical problems. That's what I do.
All right. No, I think I had my share tab paused, but here we go. Can you hear it there, Patrick?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, we can hear.
Beautiful. That's such a great cinematic piece. What do you think of this?
I like it, of course. So no, it's going to be our I would say key product for the next 2-3 years. And I think this will be the product that I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I think this will be the defining product.
Yeah. And I noticed that it's black and white, and then it goes all of a sudden to color when
Yeah.
the truck pops up. Any reason why that was, or is it kind of like the
Dramatic
old to the
effect, I
new?
guess.
All right,
I guess dramatic effect. I don't know.
dramatic effect. This is the ground unit here of on this truck. Part of the solution is this. I don't know if you want to start here with the laser.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
we'll get to the drone.
Absolutely. So just like a recap for everyone, you have a power source which feeds a laser transmitter. The laser transmitter beams power to the drone, and that's how you get the optical CPT connection. So the truck is not really in shot because that is not that can change. So if a certain customer has a particular truck that they want to use, then we can absolutely use whatever truck they want, right? So that's why it's not fully in shot. Additionally, on the transmitter side, it's a very modular system. So you can basically mount the laser in whatever configuration you need. So again, it's more like a customer choice. What is going to stay quite similar across the range of products is the main fuselage, but we can go onto the we can speak about the drone in a minute. So just to recap, we have a generator, whether it's diesel or a battery pack. We don't really mind as long as it gives us the required amount of power, which is going to be, let's say, let me take a look here, between 1 to 2 kilowatts for the laser. So it's a very substantial laser. going through some very substantial optics. And actually, part of the solution is the AI controlled alignment system and safety system. So that's going to be basically mounted with the laser transmitter, and that will enable precise, safe beaming of energy.
Right. And talk about those safety mechanisms and the precision mechanisms because they're important.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we've got to hit a rapidly moving target, especially when we're talking about the Fortitude engine, which we can talk about in a minute. So we have to hit a very small, say, tennis ball or golf ball size target that's traveling very quickly in 3 dimensions. And how we do that exactly is a patent that we are going to be filing soon. I can't tell you how we do that. There is another company which basically maxes out its tracking system for power transmission, but we'll be able to work at much higher speeds. So how exactly we align it, it's kind of a secret right now, but we will file that patent soon. The safety systems, so there's going to be a camera, which is a very high speed camera, which is also tracking visually the drone and where the beam is. And so we'll be able to power down if it tracks something going into the beam. That's part of the AI suite that will be involved on the transmitter side. Secondly, there's a calculation, a running calculation between how much power is transmitted and how much power is received. So between those two numbers and a bunch of very complex calculations on alignment and tracking and all sorts of other things, you're able to work out very quickly if there is an issue with a transmission, and you'll be able to bring down the power instantaneously to a safe amount, and then you'll be able to rescale it upwards just to confirm the test, basically. So there are several safety systems that are operating. Additionally, in the future, we're going to add like a laser sheath around the main power beam. So there's a power beam and a sheath. So if the sheath breaks, then we know to shut down the laser or to bring the power down substantially. So if a bird flies through, it's not going to be fried to a crisp,
I was
basically.
gonna say if like I accidentally look into the laser a little bit, I'm not gonna get like totally zapped.
Oh,
Hopefully.
it's a very powerful laser. There's no two ways about it. It's
Okay.
extremely powerful. So that's why you have to have very complex and substantial safety systems. They have to be reliable, and you have to keep people safe. Again, if you're not keeping people and stuff safe, then it's not a solution worth building. So we know how to keep it safe. We know that safety is an absolute priority for us, and we have the solutions on the way to address all of those.
You
But yeah,
mentioned
it's a very powerful beam.
you mentioned a 2 kilowatt laser, I
Yeah.
believe. What is if people don't know what 2 kilowatts is?
I'll
Much
give some
energy,
perspective.
please?
So a very focused beam of 10 watts is enough to cut through steel. So 2 kilowatts is 2000 watts, but we're not focusing it. We are using beam expanders to actually create an expanded beam rather than a very fine point. So if you are, if for example, all of the safety systems are somehow defective, or you turn it off, or some bad actor decides to do some crazy stuff, or someone builds their own 2 kilowatt laser, it can be dangerous. And that's why the solution is for law enforcement and industrial users and highly professional, specialized people.
Yeah, so the safety system also, I think Patrick mentioned buildings. It at some point, like, you need to have line of sight to the drone, obviously. If line of sight is broken, how does the drone perform? What does the drone do in that scenario?
Okay, so regarding that, so when we will deploy it to a city where there's a lot of high-rise buildings, you actually can mount the transmission unit, so the laser transmitter, at the top of those high-rise buildings. So they can just go on top. The drone isn't going to be flying in and around buildings. That's not its purpose. It's going to be substantially above. So that's one way to get around it. If the beam is interrupted for whatever reason, the drone has a battery bank on there. So it can absolutely sustain flight for, let's see here, I have my cheat sheet. Yeah, so the battery itself is about 8 hours of flight time on this
Oh, wow.
configuration. So it will find it'll find a little bit of time to get back on the beam.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to get back on the beam.
Additionally, there's a lot of redundant power. There's a huge amount of redundant power. So we don't. It's not like we are charging. It's not like if the beam is shut off that the drone just falls out the sky. There's batteries. We are transmitting way more power than is required for the drone to operate. That's actually part of a strategy. So you can mount more energy demanding sensors as well, and future proof it as well.
So in this demonstration here, you have this black dot, and then you have a little ball at the bottom. To be clear, so talking about the S drone specifically, because I don't know if you have anything else in your cheat sheet about power
Oh, I have a lot
transmission.
of things on my cheat sheet.
Hit us with a few things. Hit us with a few
All right.
things.
So first of all, I'd like to make it very clear that this is a platform. So the drone is right now is made out of several components, which the key component is the nose cone, which is so the user can then put into the nose cone whatever sensor they want from our roster of sensors. By the way, everything is going to go up on the site in the coming week or maybe two, because again, we are now ready to take reservations. We'll cover that in a minute. So the end user selects what sensors they want to be mounted into the nose as sensor modules. Then we have the fuselage. The fuselage is going to stay more or less the same. Well, in fact, the exterior of the fuselage and its core construction is the same. But we will have 5 different powertrains in the fuselage. So the end user will be able to decide whether they want battery powered, so electric ducted fan battery powered, conventional jet. We can have battery, EDF, and solar. We'll cover that in a minute, as well as laser power converters on the bottom of the wing, kind of similar to what some, let's say, like putting the solar panels on the underside of the wing. And then we have the Fortitude engine version, which is like the top of the range. So we have 5 different powertrains for the fuselage. We have several different sensor modules on the nose that you can mount. Then we have 2 configurations for wings, and all of this is plug and play. That's why it's a platform. That's why it's I think it's going to be our key product for the next 3 years, because basically it allows the users to pick exactly what configuration they need, whatever their mission requirements are. So we have the glider format, and we also will have an X-wing format for improved stability and weather resistance. And then finally, we have the tail, which will have two different configurations as well, mainly for cost savings and simplicity's sake. So there's a bunch of options that you'll be able to go through and select exactly what solution you need, all the way from conventional, so cheaper, more affordable, let's say conventional, all the way up to an X-wing, V-tail, Fortitude engine, laser transmitter, generator, AI system, everything. So there's several packages, and that's why it's a platform. So you'll be able to choose exactly what you want.
Whoa. Okay.
Sorry,
There was, yeah,
there's a
that's
lot of
awesome.
info.
So the X-Wing one is really cool because we've seen, I think in some of the conflicts in Eastern Europe, we've seen a very famous version of the X-Wing drone be really efficient in its flight capability. And I think that's why X-Wing drones have become quite notable. I wonder if it's also for their VTOL capability, but how do you think of like fixed wing like this and quadcopters and X-Wings? Like, how would you think
Okay,
of the
okay,
two?
okay, 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 okay. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for the VTOL option that is on the way. You're
Okay.
always asking the right questions.
Okay.
Um, yeah, no. The look, this one is not VTOL. It's going to require a little runway. Um, but but the VTOL version is we'll announce it soon. Yeah. So regarding the configurations, it's really about what the customer needs. So if you need something that's going to just glide for a really long time, then you're going to go with a glider, right? The X-wing is efficient, it's aerodynamic, but it's not as efficient as a massive glider, basically. But it is more resistant to weather. So there's lots of pros and cons that the customer will need to decide, and that's why we built it or designed as a modular system, so that you can pick and choose what you need. And
Yes.
actually, yeah, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no. Finish your thought, please.
No, and actually, that's why we're able to take reservations for this drone starting from, well, today. And anyone can as well, because yes, there's going to be CPT enabled versions, like what we saw in the video, but we're also going to deploy versions which are non-CPT, so conventional battery EDF, electric ducted fan. So you like regular consumers will be able to buy it and use it as well. So we want to build this platform.
Okay. So it's scalable across the use of applications.
Yeah.
And something like this is good for persistence. It can stay in the air. Patrick mentioned 6 days.
Yeah, so 6 days up. So with the Fortitude engine, we wanted to, and especially so we did a case study on the LAPD, right? They have 17 helicopters and they're on rotation. So they have what they call almost all the time some sort of helicopter up. So with just 5 drones, 5 glider configuration Fortitude engine drones, you'll be able to have the same performance as the entire LAPD helicopter fleet for a fraction of the cost. Having said that, the reason it's 6 days flying, 1 day in maintenance is because this is a new technology and there's a hell of a lot of power going through it. So we don't want to start with hey, it will fly 1 month. We want to start with 6 days, bring it down for maintenance, check it, and then get it back up flying. So That's the rotation that we're looking at.
Right. So you mentioned 5 different powertrains, the
Mm.
Fortitude engine being one of them. I don't know if on your cheat sheet, really quick, you can just recap those 5 propulsion methods, and
Yeah,
then we can talk
yeah,
about Fortitude.
yeah. So we will have battery, so conventional battery, EDF, electric ducted fan. We'll have a jet powered one, mainly for speed. We'll have battery EDF, then supplemented with solar panels across the top of the wing. We will then have laser power converters on the bottom of the wing. So when you place laser power converters on the bottom of the wing, you're basically sort of mirroring what the solar panels do.
Yeah.
So the solar panels charge from the sun, but when you put the laser power converters on the bottom side of the wing and you shine or illuminate either spotlight, which also has its own benefits, or a laser, you're kind of replacing the sun and solar panels, so you're actively charging it. So it does give some interesting capabilities. Like, you know, you can charge from the sun during the day, and you can charge from the LPCs at night. Let's say. So that's kind of and we're
What does LPC stand for? Sorry.
laser power converter.
Lighter. Okay, got it.
They're basically solar panels which have been manufactured in such a way that the panel can sustain higher temperatures and it can convert higher power density. So
Yeah.
let's say the power density of a solar panel is between 300 to 500 watts per square meter. An LPC can do like 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 watts and more per square meter. So it's just redesigned panels.
Right. And would the laser transmitting also be able to swap to the under the wing where it has arguably a higher surface area, and maybe the laser shape, I forget the term used, but it would have to be shaped differently to optimize to that?
So yeah, I mean, exactly. So that's one of the fundamental challenges that the Fortitude engine that the Fortitude engine addresses.
Okay.
However, the Fortitude engine is substantially more expensive. So for customers that maybe don't want that super high-end solution, they just want, say, a drone that is charging from the sun during the day, and then at night we just boost it a little bit, like maintain charge, using a more simplified method. Then they can choose like naked LPCs on the bottom of the wing. But for customers that money is no object and you just want the most high performance product, then you go to the Fortitude engine.
Right. And those LPCs convert energy. And what's the propulsion method? Is it
So
just a
electric ducted
propeller?
fan. Yeah,
Electric
ducted
ducted
fan.
fan. And
Yeah.
electric ducted fan is what we would see on a DJI drone, which is those little solenoid motors. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, so electric ducted fan is let's say so on most DJIs, I don't think I've seen an EDF DJI, so many acronyms. They are usually powered by a propeller. But if you have, let's say, a propeller that is then encased in a shroud, that is an electric ducted fan. So and it performs differently. So a propeller is fundamentally performing differently to an EDF. The shroud itself allows for some pros and cons. You lose some efficiency in some ways, and you gain others. So it's just the EDF allows us to maintain the same fuselage construction, so that we're able to have this modular system. If you ask me what is the most efficient propulsion method, it is a two-bladed, slow rotation propeller. So, like you can imagine like a helicopter with its giant, slow-moving rotor is going to be a lot more efficient than a bunch of small electric ducted fans because of the loading on the blades. It gets a bit complicated, but basically,
Yeah.
EDF allows us to maintain the same fuselage construction, which
Yeah.
allows us then to offer a modular solution. So it's just a design choice. It's a
People
design compromise, if you
people
will.
think helicopter blades are like fan blades, but they're actually like mini wings. They still have
They
the
are wings, yeah.
camber of the wing, and they have the shape of the wing. They just move rather than being fixed on an aircraft moving through the air. They just rotate through the air.
Right, exactly. So, and because they're moving a lot slower, they're a lot bigger. They're working fundamentally differently. It allows them to be more efficient than an EDF, which is basically just pushing.
Yeah. So on this image here, obviously at the front here, we would have any sensor package that the client would want. There's this big black dot.
Exactly. So in the nose cone there, if you look at it carefully, the nose cone is a different color.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
inside the nose cone, we'll be able to mount whatever sensors we'll have in our portfolio.
Okay. And this black dot, is that symbolize something here?
The black dot just behind the nose cone.
Yeah.
That's actually the EDF intake. So that's the intake.
Okay. So that's what the laser's shooting at, right?
No, the laser's going to shoot at the just on the rear side of the fuselage. There's a dome shape, like a dome underneath there, and that is going to accept the laser, and it will funnel it into the reflected into the fortitude engine.
Okay, got it. Okay,
So
let's talk.
That's actually an alignment positive system, but also it greatly reduces the chance of an accidental high power laser reflection, which is not ideal.
So that is if it were to hit like something reflective and then hit its own tail. Is that a challenge?
Well, that's part of our solution that we're patenting and why it works. It's yeah. I mean, if we start missing with a 2 kilowatt laser, then that's going to be a problem. But we're not. But we don't miss. So that's
Right.
part of the solution.
This drone system, I believe Patrick mentioned, costs $200,000. What is the price range for the different solutions that you talked about?
Yeah, and this is actually the interesting part of it.
And available for order today. Is that correct?
It's available to reserve today.
Okay, for reserve.
And we'll be able to start shipping it sometime this year. Hopefully March, April time, we'll be able to start shipping the first versions.
Wild. Okay.
Manufacturing dependent, of course. Yeah. You know the way hardware works, where like you manufacture something and then you find like a tiny defect and you just can't accept it.
Look,
or at least I can't. I have some
Tesla
OCD.
Roadster was sold 7 years ago and none of them have been delivered yet. So
right. So we want to absolutely avoid that, and we're not doing that. Right. That's why we're asking for reservations, not asking for your money. That's different. So the cost differences. Basically, it's going to range. I have to refer to my cheat sheet. It's going to range between 50 to 200, 250. That's the spread. Yeah. So 50,000 to 250,000. That's the spread, depending on what fuselage, what powertrain, what sensors, what wing configuration, tail configuration you need. So that's the range. So why is that an important factor? Because let's say I've actually done a few calculations here for again the LAPD case study, which is how many battery powered EDF drones do you need, which would be able to replace with plenty of redundancy the helicopter fleet in almost all use cases. That's going to be about 30. So again, that's going to cost 1.5 million basically. So that's one of the great features of having a platform, so people can choose what they need. Perhaps a customer might say, I want 12 glider drones with battery powered. I want to have 2 X-Wing Fortitude engine drones, and I want to have, I don't know, like 5 X-Wing jet powered drones just for like high speed pursuits or something. And that balance allows us to accommodate any user need that they might require.
Patrick, you were infamous yesterday, Roman, by putting in the comments and having information, but it will not only be reserved, it will be pre-order. So there we go. Yes, Patrick, we want the credit cards on the website. You know what I'm saying? So, oh man, the product guy will figure out how to deliver it. I got it. I got it.
That is my job, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, there's so many elements here. I want to make sure I want to talk about the Fortitude engine in great depth. Is there anything else on the drone at this level? You are manufacturing this drone. Let's maybe talk about the manufacturing process here. Is this thing right here? Have we physically got it? Like, can I go somewhere and touch this right here? Or is it still a CAD design or concept design?
So this is literally in manufacture right now. Not going to say who right now is manufacturing or where, but it's in the works. So you will be able to touch it shortly, as long as the quality control passes on this manufacturing run.
All right, so maybe you get this unit here, the first unit out of the run. I mean, presumably you've done some pre-testing of this, like wind tunnel. I don't know what goes into building something like this, but has some sort of like,
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
let's say, testing gone into it?
Yeah, obviously, there's lots of high quality simulation softwares and development programs that are out there, and you can basically get it to 99% reliable. You still need to build it and then fly the thing, and that's coming a little bit later on. But there is no there's no worry for me at all on the quality of the product.
So we get this product in February, March. What's the time that
right now we're working with like mid-February.
Okay.
But again, I want to stress that manufacturing something can cause QC, quality control challenges that we need to make sure are addressed. So if something comes to me and I'm not happy with it, then I will reject it and we will do another run. With manufacturing, you never know everything. And there are obviously real world challenges to it.
Of course. Demonstration. So let's say everything goes great. You get a great QC. You're happy with the product. You go out in your backyard with your FPV goggles on or something. You say, all right, let's try and fly this. First question is, are you flying it like that, like an FPV drone, or is it completely AI flying? Like, are you controlling the control surfaces is what I'm asking, or is AI doing it?
Didn't you say you're getting a pilot's license?
Well, in a past life, I have. Yes, I was.
This could be interesting. You could be the designated pilot. No, look, there has to be 2 modes, which is one mode is fully autonomous.
Yeah.
That is an absolute necessity. That is a necessity for the function of the power transfer. because you cannot manually fly this thing and control its alignment to the laser with that precision.
Okay.
So there's going to be an like majority of the time autonomous, but of course there will be a function to man takeover, let's say, of the system. Yeah.
Is there a data transmission potential between the ground unit and the drone through the laser, or is it just purely power?
You always ask the right questions. Yeah, there is, and actually that's a very interesting part of it, because it's quite difficult to interfere with communication when it's a light-based communication system.
All right. What could data transmission be used for in this use case, do you think? Beyond just video feed?
Well, no, I mean,
something that I'm
like the control of we're starting to get very close to one of the patents that we plan to do. So I have to be a little bit careful, but the data transmission can absolutely be part of how you control the drone. It could also transmit sensor information, like sensor data from the thermal camera or whatever else you have mounted on there. But there will be also a like an RF based communicator as well. So you have to have both. Data transmission is, of course, absolutely fundamental to the performance of any drone. Ultimately, it's all about getting something in the sky that's going to give you data back, visual or otherwise. So we need to make sure that it's fundamental to the success of the product.
One of the challenges with RF is it can be interfered or blocked or jammed. That's why we've seen the rise of like fiber optic as a transmission method. Is there any, like with the laser, is it also jammable in that same way, or is the
The
laser
laser is
more like
much harder
fiber
to
optic?
jam. It is
Okay.
possible to jam a laser. However, it's way harder, especially due to the design of the Fortitude engine. It will be very, very challenging to compromise that data link.
Right. And I think I don't know if you mentioned this or I saw this, but one of the team members at Empulser was shooting lasers at like lightning bolts and like hitting them or something. Is that real, or am I imagining this? I thought I saw
No.
it somewhere.
That's real. No, that's not us. That's not us. We were. Was that in the holders chat? I think I might have been in the holders chat.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know where. Okay, so this is a very interesting topic. Like, basically, there is a lot of research in Switzerland and the deployment in Switzerland. Some of the colleagues of our doctors and professors that are doing right now a laser lightning rod, basically. So if there's some critical infrastructure that you need to protect, and you see like a cloud that might, produce some lightning strikes, you basically fire an extremely high power laser, which functions by pulses, so like femtosecond pulses. I think it's like 7, 8 femtoseconds pulses, and that allows it to basically have massive power surge, and that ionizes all of the air and creates a conductor. So the lightning basically strikes the laser, the plasma that was generated by the laser, and it goes away from the critical infrastructure. Yeah. So there's some crazy stuff being developed. Yeah.
Man, Switzerland's on a whole nother level, eh? That's crazy. Wow.
They do some crazy stuff here. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Drone wise, we're good. Can we talk Fortitude?
Yeah, let's talk. I'll try to address whatever questions there are. Of course, that's our like most prized possession, so we'll have to be a little bit careful.
All right, prized possession. I'll let you speak on what you want to speak on. We have it here. It's basically got a. Oh, by the way, this is the MCG Chinese clip. I'm speaking Chinese, but it has this we call a modesty curtain here. Like, just give us an idea of like how this engine works, all the things going on here. Yeah, what do you? Yeah.
So I can't go into too far into how it works. I'm just going to talk about what it does.
Okay, great.
So it allows a new. It's a new form of engine. It's a new form of engine that allows laser power transfer to work safer, to align better. So there's some critical alignment challenges with laser power transmission, and it also allows us to improve the efficiency substantially. It allows us also to be very compact, much more compact than basically hanging a solar panel, a souped up solar panel off the bottom of a drone, which has obviously aerodynamic challenges. So this system allows us to be more compact, more powerful, more usable. It scales phenomenally well. It has a lot of advantages for alignment, and it's a lot safer.
Chemical combustion, how does it work?
There is no chemical combustion.
Give us how does this thing work, Roman?
I think the patent attorney would kill me
Okay.
if I go much further. However, all of the entire power input comes from the laser.
Yeah. So power input from the laser.
Yeah.
Um,
Creates electricity and
Yeah.
thrust at the same time.
Creates electricity and thrust. Got it. And
At the same time, yeah.
it's like the rocket equation is object, air going out one way, thrust going the other way. Can we something
That's
like that?
something like something very, very similar to that.
Okay.
With some electrical assistance.
Some electrical assistance.
When yeah, can we talk? And actually, one of the biggest challenges for laser power transmission is thermal management. So there are some U.S. government experiments which basically were able to transmit laser power. I think it was at 8 kilometers or something, 800 watts at 8 kilometers. But they were only able to pulse that laser for 30 seconds at a time. Until if you go to like 40 seconds, 60 seconds, it's just going to melt everything. Our design doesn't do that. It actually runs fairly cold.
And so the efficiency is how the material can take the heat that's sent to it and then direct it to thrust, ideally, versus the heat that is generated. You want to minimize the heat, but maximize the thrust is basically the equation you're playing with.
Yeah, exactly. So let's assume, I mean, the top end efficiency of any known cell, laser power converter cell, is developed by, I think, the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany. And they have demonstrated, proven 65% conversion efficiency. So they would beam, I don't know, well, I forgot what it was, but let's say they beam 100 watts and they were able to get 65 watts out, which is massive. Absolutely massive, because solar panels right now, they're working on like 20%, 19, 15, 20. Some are working approaching 30%. So those guys were able to get 65% efficiency, which is absolutely huge. Now ours doesn't reach our laser power converters are not going to reach 65% efficiency, but due to the design, we're able to maintain continuous power, and we're able to claw back a lot of that thermal inefficiency. So in the end, it works. That's part of the lateral thinking that we are using to make our products. Because if we did effectively what everyone else is doing, which is hang a solar panel, let's say, off the bottom of a drone, and as the drone is flying, this thing is like moving and turning and interfering with its function and operation, aerodynamics, as well as overheating after 30 seconds, then it's pointless, right?
Yeah.
Whereas ours addresses all those problems.
Okay, awesome. You mentioned, and I just want to make sure I recap this. There was a problem that the Fortitude engine solved specifically. Can you just jog my memory on what that was?
Yeah, I mean, there's several problems, which is obviously compactness. So if you hang a massive solar panel that is twisting and moving,
yeah,
to maintain alignment, perpendicular alignment to the transmitter, that's obviously going to be a big problem for your drone. Like weight distribution wise, well, you know this as the pilot, right?
Yeah.
Center of gravity moving around, this thing's like,
yeah,
you know, and the solar panel is going to be, well, this panel is going to be massive compared to the drone. So we're solving that issue because it's way more compact. We're solving the issue about continuous power transmission, i.e. the thermal management. So we're not overheating after 30 seconds, which is pretty important for continuous power transmission. And we're clawing back a lot of those thermal inefficiencies as well. And on top of that, if you have a massive panel, you can get reflections, which you don't want. Our system does not produce the same magnitude of reflections, so it's a lot safer as well.
Yeah, and we all know that like the color white reflects light and the color black absorbs it. So you would have to have some sort of super absorbent kind of dark material to do that, I'm assuming.
We actually don't even need that.
Oh, yeah?
That's part of the design. We don't even need that.
Okay, cool. I don't know what like what else would you like to discuss on this? I appreciate the the patent angle here. You know, you don't want to get too crazy until those but maybe give me like an idea of like when we can talk about it, and then what else would you like to share on it?
I really don't know when we can talk about it. You know, communication strategy, patent strategy, that's not my cup of tea, I would say.
Okay.
So when I'll be cleared is when I'll be cleared to talk about it. Regarding what else we can cover, I mean, really, we want to stress that the S-Drone is going to be, I think, I think at least is going to be our main product, like the flagship product. It's a modular system. It adapts to whatever the client requests are. You can change basically anything about it. And as Patrick said, right, I think I saw Patrick said we'll be taking orders.
Yep, paid in crypto.
There you go.
I love it. Any chat? All right, I'll give a opportunity for the audience. Ping me if you have questions, either in the SOAR Captain's Lounge, the Empulser holders chat, this chat. Like, you have to at me. Really ping me if you guys have any questions. For those that are watching, we'll give that opportunity before we wrap up here. I really want to see this in operation. So maybe I'll ask a bit about your manufacturing on this. So like the drone you said is in manufacturing.
The manufacturing
today.
right now is quite secretive.
Is this being built? Like, you have a version of it here. Can I hold a version of it somewhere in the world?
Of what, the drone or the Fortitude or
The
both?
Fortitude engine.
Yeah. Well, okay. So part of the design of a Fortitude engine actually, one of the fundamental parts of it is that we can manufacture with additive manufacturing. So a lot of it can be milled, and a lot of it can be 3D printed as well. There's a lot of complex structures in there. So 3D printing in titanium, Inconel, aluminium. Yeah, so that's part of it, and it's on the way. We actually wanted to bring out the aluminium version, but the quality wasn't. I didn't like the quality, so we did what is it, the print that we have there in SLS, selective laser sinter. But we do have an aluminium and titanium one on the way as well.
The titanium highest heat, aluminum is a weight thing. What's the difference between the versions, different metallurgic compositions?
Really, it's they have different. When you're building something really massive, they have they have different strengths and weaknesses. However, when it's something that runs pretty cold and is fairly small, the majority of it is aluminium, and there's some choice parts which might have slightly higher wear, where we want to just bulk up on the material itself. So that's maybe a more titanium sort of choice. But really, we can do the whole thing in aluminium. It's just that I think for some high wear components, we just want to beef up the amount of material, so that will be made in titanium.
I think one question I had is like, okay, if this is a high heat thing, how is it attached to the drone itself? Like, is it secured with brackets that are heat resistant? Like, does it slide into some sort of case? Like, how does it actually fit inside the drone?
Yeah, so there's going to be extruded aluminium encasing that it will slot into. And then it's supported by carbon fiber as well. So by the time you get to the extruded aluminium encasing, the temperature is well under control. So it could even go into plastic, but better safe than sorry to put into an aluminium sort of casing.
Got it. Okay. Oh man, I don't see any other questions. No one's tagged me in anything. I'm trying to make sure that I do not miss a single thing here, Roman. So if you have anything you would like to expand on, please let me know. I'm going to take a quick look through X just to make sure I got it all. But otherwise,
Well, I
um,
think, yeah, I mean, basically to sum up, I mean, the S drone is a platform. You have interchangeable components for whatever a prospective customer would want. We are very accommodating. We'll make the solution they need. That's part of why it's a platform. There'll be different powertrains in there, everything from conventional to the Fortitude and everything in between. The solar panel assisted version is a proven and known technology. So and so is the jet and the battery EDF. So we're really banking on a mix of absolutely cutting edge CPT technologies, as well as more of more proven, widely accepted conventional methods as well.
got it. Growth in consumer robotics. Anything here that you're able to share?
Growth in consumer robotics. That is a very interesting space, and we have been looking at it with great interest. I talked to a CTO at a robotics company not too long ago. Um, and he mentioned to me that one of the biggest challenges for his robots is the more work they do, the quicker the battery runs out, and the time it takes to walk back to the recharge station, or for some cases drive back to recharge station. Um, Sometimes that travel from recharge station to workstation is longer than the amount of time that they spend actually working. And
Mm.
the heavier the boxes they lift, or the heavier the more uh, power consumption they use on actually doing their tasks, reduces the amount of time they work. So we'll be able to we are already able to transmit enough energy using magres to power those those robots at their work site, at their workstation. So that's going to substantially give them quite a large productivity boost.
Awesome. I think Spicer was wanting to see when we could attend a demo in real life. I echo some of this thought here is, you know, like if there's a video of it in real life, that's like where it just goes from 3D models to like, oh, like, okay, like this is crazy. We think February for that as well.
I think if if it's delivered with the quality that I expect, then I think sometime in February as well. So it really depends on now the manufacturer to see whether everything can be produced at the quality that I kind of demand.
Patrick, I'm just telling your story, so this is to your benefit, just so you know.
What is this? He talks
Josh
too
will not be
much.
invited that he talks too much. Yes. But you know what? I'm leaving no leaf unturned. I will say this is a very, very interesting. The reason I ask so many questions is because I want people to see how deep this goes. Because look, we see people make crazy promises on the internet every day. And so I'm trying to break through what's like an over promise under deliver situation versus what is like the real engineering. And that's why we do these streams with Roman, because I want to hear the real engineering.
I think those like in-person demos are a strategic priority for us. We want to do them. We need to make sure that it aligns with our communication strategy.
Yes.
We don't like I could right now pull up some stuff. I'm not going to do that because it's about like strategy. Um, but like let's say for smart sensors, IoT devices, consumer goods, all of that is basically here. I mean, lying around. So we could at some point start showing people that, but it's about the right timing of things.
I want the Chinese live streamer where she just brings it in front, product, throws it to the side, brings it in front, throws it to the
Oh yeah, I
side.
saw that.
Yeah,
We
like
can't do
come on,
that because
come on, Roman.
you don't get the full
I want to see the CPT product rollout,
you know
in everything.
startups are a journey, journeys are storytelling, and you can't skip chapters.
Yeah, no, of course, I understand. We are a real company in Web2, and we will produce real products and solutions so we can defend and show our concepts and ideas and eventually the products. I mean, that's the process we are absolutely in. Is it possible the tech will be regulated eventually? It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the products are already fully compliant. I need to check on the stages of certification for them. But absolutely.
Yeah, I think probably in the same way that you have bandwidth regulation in terms of
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
frequencies and
Yeah. So like 915 megahertz is the permitted frequency in the US, 868 in Europe, and there's a patchwork of others around the world. As for RF, magres is basically there's a very strange, inefficient calculation on the amount of human mass to the amount of power being transmitted. It's strange. But there is that regulation. Regarding the optical transmission, that is that's like at the highest danger level because it's so powerful. But again, like this is a technology that's going to save people's lives, whether it's search and rescue, whether it's early detection of forest fires, or just helping police, or even someone even told me about, there's quite a lot of heart attacks on golf courses, and you can't get the defibrillator out there very quickly. So even on a golf course, at some point you might see a CPT powered drone just like loitering. Someone has a heart attack, it goes down there with a defibrillator, defib, and saves a person's life. That's part of a solution, and I think having a high power laser is just part of it, and part of a solution that's gonna help people.
Icarus drone. Here's the Icarus stratospheric bird conquering the stratosphere. So there's actually this is
let's talk about that.
I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this just so people know what we're talking about. This is actually quite a famous. I've seen this before on the internet.
Actually, this sort of solution whereby you have effectively a glider. You have solar panels on the top of the wing, and you're able to, if you have a very efficient glider, and you fly high enough and you're stable and all of that, you're able to actually sustain flight indefinitely, theoretically. Now, this is a technology that's been around for a long time. Actually, I think there was also a project in Switzerland where they demonstrated a manned glider that was able to sustain flight. I don't know for how long. I think it was like 2 weeks or something crazy like that. And what they're trying to do here is, I think they fly the drone and they are trying to replace Starlink with their drones, basically. So when you're flying in the atmosphere, you're close to the ground, you're able to have faster internet and whatnot. So it's an interesting solution. It's a proven technology, and there's quite a few companies that are doing it. I think you're going to see a lot more solar-powered gliders in the near future. The question becomes for us is,
Roman.
And because it's active transmission, we're able to not rely on passive functions, and we're able to transmit more energy as well. Because solar power is, let's say, capped at, I think it's like 500 watts per square meter or something similar. Whereas laser power transmission is a lot more power dense. So you're able to have larger systems, faster systems, and that gives you a lot of advantages. So this is a great solution. Icarus is a great solution. But I think what we are doing is a more active transmission of power, which gives us several advantages.
Here they talk about essentially trying to give Starlink type communications capability, and obviously that's a massive narrative, but also probably a high utility use case for something like this beyond observation or just having
and actually no, and this is a very workable, proven technology. There's quite a few companies doing this, and we're not shying away from that either. As we mentioned earlier, we will have solar panels on as one of the powertrains, but we're also going to be beaming actively energy to it. In a way, you can think about it as we're replacing the sun and we're moving the solar panels underneath. That's kind of a crude way of thinking about it, perhaps.
Do you see yourselves as kind of like competing with a group like this?
No, there's actually, it's not competing, because they are doing, let's say, they're competing with Starlink. That's what they're competing. We are going to be transmitting energy to drones which are much lower down in the atmosphere. So like police helicopters. Actually, so our competition, let's say, is police helicopter suppliers. Their competition is Starlink. So there's probably like several kilometers difference there. That's not to say we may never start competing with them, or that's not to say they might never compete with us. But I think it's adjacent technologies rather than pure competition.
There's an interesting quote here around the FAA rules and allowing for these persistent high altitude ISR. I don't even know what ISR even stands for, but persistent high altitude, let's say autonomous things like I guess, is there no FAA regulation because like no drone can possibly be up more than 30 minutes? I don't know. Like, do you, yeah, like I guess there'll be certain
No, I mean
altitudes or-
regulatory. Yeah, I mean regulation is a challenge, and that's why our team is uniquely positioned, because we know the big boy game. Well, especially Patrick does, right? So when you get into regulatory questions and frameworks, that's why our team is quite well positioned, to say the least.
Not sure if you understand this question here. Also, please clarify the distance
Let me
being
see
far
here.
and energy
Also,
needed
please
as
clarify
reported.
distance.
It is not.
I'm not following exactly, Patrick.
Patrick, if you can clarify that question, maybe we can discuss it.
Oh, I think what he's talking about is scattering. Okay, what? I'm not sure what.
I think what he's saying is we're not pulling the energy from the atmosphere. It is being sent from A to B. It's more transmission rather than deriving its energy
Yeah.
source
We're not
from like the sun.
generating. Yeah, we're not generating energy. We are transmitting it from point A to point B using a laser.
Yeah.
That is how it works for the optical power transfer. For magnetic resonance, it works by a three-dimensional magnetic field and resonant receivers, which operate within that magnetic field to pull energy. I think maybe there was a bit of confusion initially when I started talking. I said it's as close to as magic, because the user would feel like the energy is coming out of the air. So, like for example, when we're going to be deploying our consumer goods products, you'll walk into a room and your stuff will immediately start charging. That's the perception. That's the perception that's going to be generated with a lot of users. In the same way, you no longer plug in your phone, or I guess we never did that. You don't plug in your phone with a cable to get access to the internet. You use Wi-Fi, and it just happens when you walk into a room. So in the same way, you're going to feel when our consumer goods products start to come on the market, that you're just going to walk into a room and your devices will just start charging. So that's what it will feel like. The actual physics behind it is there's a three-dimensional magnetic field that's charging your device.
Which we have a demonstration on of the first MCG call that we did.
Oh, yeah.
That we actually demonstrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that can already charge all consumer goods already. So that's in the process of being deployed.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think we got a good sense here of, man, all the opportunities. We talked a lot about the product engineering. I think this Icarus is a good one for people just to kind of go and see like who else is working on this kind of stuff. Kind of sets,
Absolutely.
benchmarking a little bit of, how you compare and contrast these different approaches. Start a conversation, right? I think when Impulser first came out, it was just so awesome and Star Wars like that it was almost hard to like understand if how real that is, like how real is that future. These conversations have been good to kind of really break those down. So
No, absolutely. No, it's difficult to envisage, especially when most of a transmission is invisible.
yeah, I mean, you can't see it, right? Yeah. How far is the range of the laser? Like, is there some sort of drop off that it gets from
Yeah, no,
particle
absolutely. That's
interference in the
actually,
atmosphere?
that is one of the key defining factors between the military, the solely military manufacturers right now, whereby they are just using infrared light, infrared wavelengths. And so their beam can travel extreme distances. It's invisible, traveling extreme distances. If you miss your receiver, they'll just carry on for basically forever, hitting a satellite, a plane, whatever else. The wavelength selection, which I can't reveal now, but the wavelength selection that we've chosen is allows us to operate with very high precision, very high safety. It is visible, and it allows us to transmit at the ranges that we are targeting, which is 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. We can go further. I'm not going to say exactly how we can reach ridiculous transmission efficiencies. That's going to be a development for 2028, 2029. But our wavelength selection does give us a lot of advantages versus military only companies.
And is that part of the spectrum that you guys use as part of open spectrum, or is that like a licensed part of the spectrum that you have to get like some sort of license for?
Anyone working in high power laser transmission is going to have to go through some serious regulation. It's not going to be easy, but that's why, again, we are uniquely positioned because we have experience, top level experience in that sort of game. And that's why, that's why the team is important.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all I have. I mean, I've left no stone unturned to my knowledge. And chat, if I've missed anything, you always know where to find me to make sure I don't miss it in the future. So please let me know. But man, this is I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. This is fun. This is exciting.
It is game changing, and I hope Patrick will allow me to invite you to the workshop that will show you some more stuff. But we'll ask Patrick for that.
This is the lab that you guys are talking about.
Yeah. So we need to complete the setup of it. I think we mentioned before. Right now, it's quite decentralized. Universities, researchers, people all over the place, and we are consolidating. But there's some work to be done there.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Roman, for joining. And as always, I thoroughly enjoy these chats. This was a long one, but a thorough one, deep dive. And yeah.
Perfect. I'm really grateful as well, and happy to be here anytime.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Roman.